Welcome to the basic introductory instructional video for OrthoVision. In this video, we will be going over how to open OrthoVision and how to add a new patient. To begin, double-click on the OrthoVision icon, which is found on your desktop. Then, the OrthoVision login prompt will open. By default, the admin account does not have a password, so to continue, simply click the login button. To modify this, you can open the user editor, which can be found in the VATEC folder under the Start menu. When OrthoVision opens, you should see that we are currently in the Patient tab, and particularly in our Patient Management workspace. From here, you can search through your patient database by name or chart number. To add a new patient, click on the Add button in the top right corner. Then, begin entering the required information for every patient record: name, chart number, and birthday. You may also want to fill in additional information for later advanced searching. By default, your patient records will use a front profile photo that you can later import using our image import tool. However, if you would like to manually change this photo, simply click on the Change Portrait button and select a desired image file. When you've completed inputting all of your patient information, simply click on the Apply button. To select a previously saved patient, first click on the Search All button to display all patients. Then, click on the desired patient. To begin importing images, click on the Image Import button under the Patient tab in the navigation window. From here, click on the Add button to create a new record set. When creating a record set, be sure to select the set type, the date of creation, and classification for this particular record. Type in a description if you would like. When you've completed these steps, click the Apply button to create your record set. As you can see, the record set that you've created is listed in the Treatment Record Set tree. From the adjacent thumbnail window, you can select the path where you've saved your images by clicking on the down arrow button as shown here. Then, select the folder where your images are located. Thumbnails of your images should be shown in this window here. To import your image, simply click and drag your image into the appropriate slot. This will automatically open the image import screen. From this screen, first, select the machine that you've taken this image from. This data is used for various calibrations and virtual measurements. Across the toolbar, we have various icons which are used to rotate, flip, or crop the image itself. When importing the lateral photo, you should see that we need to align this photo with our lateral ceph for later simulation purposes. Use your mouse wheel to magnify the image and fine-tune the magnification with the arrow button on the toolbar here. By right-clicking directly on the image, click and drag the image into place. Finally, we can rotate the image by clicking on the Rotate button, then left-clicking and dragging your mouse to the left or right. When you've completed your alignment, click the Apply button. As you can see, our lateral photo is imported. Continue clicking and dragging your images into place to complete your photo importing process. Now that you've imported all of your photos, we can begin your digital ceph tracing. To begin, you can first select the ceph you want to trace by double-clicking on the image in the Patient Image List menu. As you can see, this brings you into the Analysis tab and the Analysis Image workspace. From this workspace, we have a various set of image editing tools available to us. We have the ability to change the brightness and contrast by first clicking on the brightness and contrast icon. Then, by clicking and holding on the image, then dragging the mouse left or right, we can change the brightness. If we drag the mouse up and down while holding our mouse button, we can change the contrast. We can also sharpen our image by clicking on the Sharpen tool. After we've done so, we can still edit the brightness and contrast to fine-tune our ceph. By clicking on the Select Annotation or Arrow button, we will revert our mouse back to its original state. To begin tracing, click on the Start Tracing button located on the toolbar here. While in tracing mode, we have a set of mouse tools available to us to edit the image. These tools are always shown at the top of the image here. If we hold Alt and left-click, we can change the brightness and contrast. When holding the Z key, we can magnify over the mouse. From the drop-down menu located below our lateral tracing guide, we can select alternative methods of tracing. To use one of these methods, select the Quick Tracing type and then the Start button. However, For purposes of this video, I will use our standard tracing methodology. To begin mapping your landmarks, follow the lateral tracing guide and place your cephalometric landmark by clicking directly on the lateral ceph. As you can see, we can progress through our landmark placements by continuing to click directly on the image. To undo your last placement, right-click anywhere on the image. Continue following the tracing guide in the upper right corner to place your landmarks. As you can see, when we map the maxilla 1 crown and the maxilla 1 root, the full maxilla is mapped for us. This also applies to the mandible 1, the maxilla 6, and the mandible 6. At any point in time during this process, you can also adjust the placement of a previously mapped landmark by selecting it on the menu to the right. When the landmark is already mapped, you can simply click and drag on previously placed points to correct its position. When mapping the upper profile, be sure to closely follow the cephalometric tracing guide in the upper right portion of the workspace. Continue clicking along the upper profile until you've completed your mapping. When you've done so, repeat the same process with the lower profile. When mapping the maxilla, click along the maxilla in the image. Then, upon reaching your final point in the tracing, double-click to move on to the next landmark. Repeat this process for the symphysis, mandible, cranial fossa, nasal bone, orbit, and pterygomaxillary fissure. As stated earlier, you can adjust any of the previously placed landmarks by clicking on an already placed landmark from the list on the right. This logic also applies to these larger tracing structures as shown here. When you've completed your tracing, click on the End Tracing button, then click on Yes in the prompt that shows afterwards. As you can see, our tracing analysis is complete. To switch to any other analysis, simply select a different analysis method in the upper right drop-down menu. Numerical values are colored on the ceph tracing to show any particularly large discrepancies from the means of these measurements. Green values indicate that the measurement falls within normal range. Blue numbers indicate that the measurement falls under 1 standard deviation from the mean. Red numbers mean that the measurement falls over 1 standard deviation from the mean. At any point in time, you can mouse over these numbers to show the results of the measurement, the mean, the standard deviation, and a description of that particular measurement. To see a full chart of your measurements, simply click on the Analysis Chart button in the upper left. Here, we can select our preferred analysis from the Analysis drop-down menu. From the drop-down menu below this, we can select multiple records to overlap on our chart. This concludes our instructional video. If you have any questions, please refer to our user manual or contact our customer support.